There are stories told in football, and then there are stories remembered. The ones that echo through time, just like ancient legends whispered around firesides. Erling Haaland's story belongs to the second kind. From the moment he kicked his first ball, people sensed something. Not magic, not luck, something older, deeper. The kind of energy you find in the great myths of history, the kind that makes ordinary men rise like giants. Haaland didn't grow up surrounded by gold or glory. He grew up surrounded by fields, wind, and hard work. The same elements that shaped the Vikings centuries ago. As a child, he ran like someone being chased by destiny itself. He jumped like an ancient Nordic hero, leaping across fjords. People smiled when they watched him, unsure whether to laugh or stare. How could a kid be so strong, so fast, so unstoppable? His coaches often said, he isn't just improving, he's evolving. Like a young lion learning the smell of the hunt. Even then, the whispers began. This kid, he's different. Haaland's early clubs were like the first steps up a long mountain. Not Olympus yet, but the lower cliffs where legends begin to look upward. Mold, the forging. In Mold, he learned discipline. He learned patience. He learned that even the strongest warrior can't win every battle, but he can learn from everyone. Salzburg, the awakening. In Salzburg, the world saw the first flash of the future goal machine. He didn't score, he erupted, like a volcano that had been quiet too long. Nights in the Champions League felt like chapters from an ancient manuscript. He ran faster than defenders could think. He celebrated like a Norse king after a victorious raid. And he smiled with the pure joy of someone who had discovered his destiny. Dortmund, the young titans. In Dortmund, Haaland became more than a rising star. He became a force. His goals were not just goals. They were messages, warnings, declarations. He moved with the strength of a Spartan and the calm of a monk. Every time he stepped on the pitch, fans felt that something heavy, something powerful was about to happen. Commentators said, "This boy is too big, too fast. He looks like he was built in a different age." And maybe he was. Then came the moment that changed everything. The moment when Haaland walked into England, football's mighty Colosseum. People wondered, can he do it here? Can he survive the world's toughest league? Can he dominate among giants? He didn't survive. He didn't adapt. He conquered. The first season, when titans walk the earth. His goals came like thunderbolts, one after another. Fast, deadly, unavoidable. Crowds didn't just cheer, they gasped. It felt like watching Achilles sprint down the Trojan battlefield. Defenders tried everything. Dragging, blocking, kicking, wrestling. But nothing worked. Stopping Haaland was like trying to hold back a river with your hands. Records fell like fallen kingdoms. Old records trembled. People didn't ask if he would score. They asked when, and how many. Even rival fans started to admire him. By now, Haaland was not just a player. He was an idea, a symbol, a story being written by the hands of time, his own hands. Some compared him to the warriors of Valhalla. Others saw in him the discipline of samurai, the power of Hercules, the speed of Hermes. And some simply said, he's not from this planet. But it wasn't just physical strength. His true power came from something deeper. A fire inside him that refused to cool. He trained like a blacksmith forging a weapon. He focused like a philosopher seeking truth. He cared like a leader marching with his men. Olympus, Valhalla, and beyond, As he kept rising, the metaphors grew. Is he climbing football's Olympus? Is he entering Valhalla? Is he standing among the Titans? But Haaland didn't belong to any one myth. He belonged to all of them, because what he represented was universal. The unstoppable rise of someone who refuses to quit. What people loved most wasn't his strength, it was his heart. He celebrated goals like a boy who still felt excitement in his chest. He hugged teammates like brothers from an ancient clan. He respected opponents like noble warriors of another tribe. He worked harder than anyone, even when he was already at the top. He reminded everyone that greatness is not given. It's earned in silence, sweat, and sacrifice. Haaland is still young, still hungry, still climbing. His story isn't finished. In fact, it feels like it's only halfway told, even less. Every match is a new chapter. Every goal is a new legend. Every season, the mountain grows higher, and still he climbs. Maybe one day, he will stand at the peak of all footballers. Maybe he will carve his name into the sky. Maybe he will write the final chapter of his saga on a stage even larger than today. But one thing is certain. Erling Haaland has already joined the timeless heroes. Not just in football, but in the stories we remember. A titan among players. A warrior among men. A legend in motion. And he's not done yet. Not even close. This is the journey of the goal machine in numbers. He began his journey at Molde, where he was still skinny, still learning, still growing. Even then, he scored 18 goals in 44 matches, showing everyone that something special was coming. But his real explosion started when he moved to Red Bull Salzburg. It was like someone pressed the fast forward button on his career. 29 goals in just 27 matches. At Salzburg, he didn't just score, he destroyed teams. Hat-tricks, Champions League goals. The whole world suddenly watching a blonde teenager sprinting like a lion chasing its prey. Then came Borussia Dortmund, and that's where the legend truly took shape. In Germany, Haaland turned into a full-grown monster of a striker, scoring 86 goals in 89 games. Imagine that. Almost one goal every time he stepped on the pitch. The Bundesliga couldn't stop him. But the final evolution, at least so far, happened when he joined Manchester City. In England, against some of the best defenders on the planet, Haaland kept scoring for fun. By late 2025, he had already scored 143 goals in about 162 matches for City, including a Premier League season that felt like a video game. Hat-tricks every other week, records falling one after another. And we can't forget Norway, his national team. Even though the team doesn't play as many games as big football nations, Haaland still became their greatest scorer ever. 55 goals in just 48 matches. Whenever Norway needs a goal, they simply look at him. And most of the time, he delivers. When you put every club and his country together, Haaland has scored over 330 goals in around 370 matches. And here's the crazy part. He's only 25 years old. So what happens next? If Haaland keeps this rhythm, and there's no sign he's slowing down, his future could be historic. Even with a normal scoring rate, he could reach 450 to 500 goals in his career in very soon time. But if he keeps playing the way he is right now, averaging around 40 to 50 goals a season, he could easily climb to 550, 600, or even more. Imagine him in his early 30s, still at a top club, still built like a Viking warrior, still smashing goals from every angle. By then, people might not just talk about him as one of the best strikers of his generation, they might talk about him as one of the greatest goal scorers football has ever seen. Do you think he can reach 1,000 goals before he retires? And the best part? His story is nowhere near finished. He's only warming up.